International Airport. Very, very good. 66,000 plus flights going out of that airport between FedEx and Breeze Airways and the California Forestry Service and a bunch of logistic stuff and things. It's a very busy airport, as you can see in the sky. If you look in that area, it is getting busy. That's for sure. So we thank them for being on, and thank you to Mr. Gibbs, who is the supervisor of aviation, the big guy at Norton Air Force Base. Excuse me, I still call it by the old name. At the San Bernardino International Airport. And we're grateful for them. So up next, we've got an interesting interview. And I'm going to introduce this person, but I knew, her name is Sharon Morris. And I actually knew a Sharon Morris from years ago. And I'm just wondering, first of all, hello, Sharon. How are you?
Well, Mark, and unless your Sharon Morris had an English accent, it may not be the same one.
No, it's not. But she was a lovely lady, and a delight. Though I love your British accent. And
thank you.
I had a very good friend of our family named Dorothy Sheehan, and she was from Great Britain as well. Had a lovely accent, and that just reminded me of our good friend Dorothy. Who was my mom's best friend. So rest her soul. So thank you for being on the show today. So today we are interviewing you about something called Voices for Children. Is that correct?
Yes. Voices for Children is the court-appointed special advocate or CASA program for Riverside County.
Yes, and as soon as I saw that, we've interviewed people from CASA before, and and so this is through CASA. And I thought it was going to be about a children's choir when I first heard it, but it's nothing like that. Is that correct?
That's right, and you're not the first to make mention of the comparison and think that that's what we do. But we actually recruit, train, and support very special community members who are volunteers that step up to be assigned by one of our 5 juvenile dependency judges in the county to a child in foster care. And they go and visit them once a month. They can take them out and do fun things with them and allow them to just be a kid. And they really get to know them. And then every 6 months, they write a report for the judge who oversees their lives and lets that judge know what they need to thrive rather than just exist in the foster care system.
Okay, so is this a separate nonprofit under CASA? Is that a sub-nonprofit?
That's a great question. So CASA is a national organization. It was actually started in 1977. There was a judge in Seattle, Washington, who said there must be a better way to do this. And he recognized that, unfortunately, the system is overburdened, overwhelmed. There's just too many kids, unfortunately, in the system, and not enough professionals to go around. And so they realized that if they could recruit some volunteers, it would mean a lot to the children who would have somebody come and visit them who's not paid, who's there because they want to be. And that's how CASA started. And then in 1980, Voices for Children was formed in San Diego County. And in 2015, we were asked to expand into Riverside County. So we are the official and only CASA program in Riverside County.
Right. Now, CASA, of course, is court-appointed special advocates. And there's a CASA in San Bernardino. There's a CASA in Ontario. There's CASAs in various jurisdictions of courts as well. I think that's how they break it up. But this is a very interesting organization. All volunteer, it sounds like. There's no one paid? Or maybe the directors are paid.
They're all volunteers. Our CASAs are all volunteers. And you're quite right that every county in the country has its own CASA program that is a nonprofit that signs a memorandum of understanding with the Superior Court of that county. And that is to perform this duty of recruiting the volunteers. But we do have paid staff throughout our county who oversee the volunteers and help them every step of the way.
Right. And so these volunteers, how does one become a CASA volunteer? Or what is the qualifications for something like this?
So we just ask that you be 21, have a valid driver's license with a relatively clean background, no DUIs or reckless driving within the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you must clear background checks. Of course, we're working with children.
Yeah.
And then you must have, all you really need to have is a heart for helping somebody who needs it, and that is a child. And to help them to feel a little bit less alone in the foster care system and allow them to feel that there is someone out there who cares for them and that they matter and who can tell the judge, Johnny needs football cleats or soccer cleats so that he can play soccer, or he wants a flute to play in the band, things
Mm-hmm.
that a social worker might not have the time to really find out. And so that volunteer, as I said, visits once a month, gets to know them, talks to the professionals on the case, and then lets the court, who makes the decisions, know the things that they need to make sure that all their dreams are realized.
So the qualifications, number one, have a clean record,
Yep.
be a legal age of 21 or older, and,
Yes,
and,
sir.
and then have a good heart.
You got it. And then they just come to our website at speakupnow.org, speakupnow.org, and they click on volunteer, and we have an information session. It's online. They can pick the date and the time, and it's a 1-hour session where they get to come and hear a little bit more and ask questions and decide if it's really something that they would like to pursue.
Now, I have a question for you. If you were interested in this, how are you matched with a young individual? Do they do that, or is it just like random?
No, it's not random, and that's a wonderful question, because when I became a CASA in 2010, that I think is the burning question for me at that time, and I think it's the biggest question that anyone asks. So when you fill out an application, you tell us a little more about yourself, and we ask you a few questions there about matching. And then after you've come for the information session, we'll invite you to a meet and greet with a member of our staff. And we'll ask you more questions at that time about matching. We will take into consideration any special skills that you might bring. But really, it is more about the need of the child and how we can make a great match. We serve children from the ages of newborns until 21.
Wow.
And so we'll look at what your sort of preferences might be, but we do ask you to be open-minded, because of course it's about the needs, the greatest needs, and the waiting pool that we have.
Speaking
and then
of
throughout
waiting
the
pool,
training, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, speaking of waiting pool,
Yeah.
I imagine there's plenty of people, young kids and children in need. Is that true, or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sadly. So we have in Riverside County, there will be about 6,000 children who will touch
6,000.
the foster care system this year.
Wow.
And we would love to be able to recruit enough volunteers to serve all of them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, we have about 180 children who are in our waiting pool, where someone has said they really need this consistent adult in their lives, who are waiting for an advocate to be matched.
Wow. You said 6,000 kids in
Yes.
the system, and still 180 is a lot of kids that don't have anybody there to turn to. I feel sorry for these kids. I was so fortunate when I was growing up. I had great parents, and they were great parents all the way until they passed away, and I didn't realize until years later how blessed I was. I thought everybody had parents like that, but apparently not, and for whatever reasons, maybe it's health issues or divorce issues or maybe substance dependence or something like that. These kids find themselves without a safety net, so to speak, other than CASA to turn to.
These children have been abused, abandoned, or neglected. And just like you, I was treated exactly the same. And in fact, when I was a CASA and I met my 5-year-old girl and 7-year-old boy, brother and sister, for the first time, the next morning I called my mother in England and apologized for everything I had done as a teenager.
I wish I could do that. Yeah.
It puts things in perspective.
Not only that, I had aunts and uncles that were the same way, and they were there, grandparents, and then, my parents belonged to a church here in town, and, all those older people in that church knew me and loved me from the time I was 5 years old. And even to this day, I run into people, Mark, it's from my church or whatever. I'm very
Yeah.
blessed, and people who need to give back. I think maybe I need to give back a little bit too. Of course, I've had plenty of foster children. They just weren't through a system. Trust me. I have helped a lot of people, but and I'm proud of that as well.
You should
Sharon,
be.
these kids have different special needs though too. I mean, I imagine you have some children that have more profound needs than others. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the kids, as I said, have been abused physically, sometimes sexually, unfortunately, emotionally. They've been neglected. Many of them have seen domestic violence, substance abuse. And so, of course, all of those things leave trauma and scars and so on and so forth.
But not
But
all
we
kids that
know,
way. Not all the kids are that way.
no,
So I don't
no,
want to
of course
scare
not.
potential volunteers here.
No, of course not. But, we know that studies show having one consistent adult in your life as a child can really help you as you grow up into adulthood.
Mm.
And CASAs can be that for a child, just showing up once a month and letting them know that there is someone in their corner can really make a difference.
And for our listeners who are just joining us, this is KCA 1050 AM 106.5. This is Mark Westwood on the Donald Williamson and show and more. I'm not Donald Williamson, of course. Donald is my partner on the show. Donald, by the way, is in the hospital, so he's just getting out. He's going to be okay, but he couldn't make the show today. But we are right now speaking with Sharon Morris, who's the managing director of Riverside County's Voices for Children, which they say a child heard is a life changed. And it's an organization through CASA, a court-appointed special advocates and agency, or just court-appointed special advocates. And it's a very important thing that she does and what other people do to volunteer as kind of a safety net for kids who don't have the alternatives that some of us others have been blessed with, which is a parental network or aunts or uncles or neighborhood community people. These kids are kind of out in the open and left behind, and like you said, they have special needs. So whether it's just an emotional support, some of them need that, but others need I get to my baseball game. Do they do transportation, by the way, Sharon? Is that allowed?
Yes, they can. Some of our kids have never had anyone in the bleachers cheering for them. So CASAs can do that. We had one young boy who said that he'd never had anyone who came to back to school night with him. So CASAs can really fulfill all of those needs. And of course, education is another one. Having somebody in your corner who's your cheerleader, especially with your education or with extracurricular activities that you're interested in, really can make a difference.
Now, is there an age cutoff for someone who? Do you call these volunteers for Voices of Children? Do you call them advocates or what? What's
we call them CASAs. Yes.
CASAs. Okay.
And there is no age limit, just a minimum of being 21. There's no, if you feel that you are fit enough to be able to get into a car and pop to see your child once a month and then come to the court and can sit at a computer and fill out your court report with all the information that the judge needs to make those great decisions, you can be a CASA. And one of the things I used to say when I was a CASA, that my favorite television show all those years ago was So You Think You Can Dance, because I have two left feet. And that was a 2-hour show, and I spent more time watching that than I ever did as a CASA, and I think I was a pretty good CASA. So if you have 2 hours a week, you have the time definitely to help a kid in foster care.
And I'll bet, and I'll just make a bet on this, that if you become a CASA, that you'll actually be enriched too, correct?
Yes, it changed my life. I never wake up in a bad mood, ever. I'm a better friend. I think my friends would tell you that. I show up when I say I'm going to show up, and I never go to bed in a bad mood. It's kind of what I said to you, where I called my mom the next day, because it really does put things in perspective, and it feels really good, and it's good for the soul to do something for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. So you're someone who's interested. What would be the first step to getting involved?
Log on to our website at speakupnow.org.
Speakupnow.org. speakupnow.org, just the way it sounds, ladies and gentlemen, speakupnow.org. And then,
And then press the volunteer button and sign up to listen to one of our information sessions. They're all on Zoom, and you can ask questions there as well.
So how many CASAs right now are on board? Do you have that number?
I do. We have just over 450 CASAs who last fiscal year, which ended in the end of June, served almost 800 children. And that is a tremendous achievement because we've been here for 11 years. But as I told you right in the beginning, there's 6,000 kids in foster care in Riverside County this year. So we need to serve those other 5,000.
Wow. And is this like multi-level mentoring, so to speak? If you become a CASA and you don't have any experience, can you call another CASA that has experience? Or how are these 6,000, how are they all overseen or monitored?
Yeah, so that is the role of Voices for Children. In our MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding that we sign with the court, is that we provide a paid member of staff who oversees the CASA. And we like the CASA really to think of them as their personal secretary or right-hand person. They are there to walk with them every step of the case. They attend any meetings and court hearings with the CASA. They edit their court report. If the CASA says, Mark would like to participate in basketball after school, the supervisor can help research and find that for them, and then they can advocate for it with the social worker and with the judge.
My engineer in the other room is laughing. Mark, basketball. I saw that. I'm a musician. I'm a radio station manager. I do all this other stuff, but basketball is not probably it.
Well, we'll help change that, Mark.
Yeah, so you have to interview these CASAs and figure out what their strengths are, and
that's it.
As long as they have a good heart, and some can cook, and some can manage radio stations, and have other hobbies and stuff like that, and then others can be athletic. I'm sure that you need a lot of. Do you have more females or more males in the program, or is it about equal?
So in foster care, it's split 50-50. We have, of course, half are girls and half are boys, but our boys wait a lot longer than our girls to be matched to a CASA, because you're absolutely right, more ladies step forward, I think naturally to volunteer, especially with children. But our young men and young boys have often said, I'd really like to have a gentleman in my corner that I can talk to, who can relate to me, who might throw a basketball with me or play the trombone or whatever. And so we really need gentlemen to step up. They are amazing advocates. Gentlemen love to fix things, and our kids love to learn to do things, So we really do need more men to step up.
Well, when I was in Catholic school in the fourth grade, I started learning how to play saxophone under a mentor named Sister Vicky. And she played the trumpet, but I don't play the trombone. I play the saxophone. All my life I've done that, and I enjoy it. And music is a great thing. But depending on your talents and what you have, I would imagine you would be matched with somebody who has a similar interest. You do this kind of whole thing where the child fills something out or is filled out for them and their interests. And interviewed, and then it's matched with the adult who fills out an application that says what they are interested in, what their strengths are. So
what's really nice too, though, Mark, is to introduce them to new things. So while you might have common interests, it's also great for you to, if it were you, for you to be able to say to a child, "This is a saxophone. Let me show you how it works and the beautiful music that it makes." And it opens up these kids who maybe never have done that, or never even heard of a saxophone, or heard of many of our famous saxophone players, and so giving them that breadth is really important as well.
This is Stan Getz. Dig this. Yeah, I can imagine that, you could do that. And how much time does it take a week to be a CASA?
So you just have to visit the child once a month, and the rest of your time is spent writing that court report, which happens every 6 months, the court hearing. And so you'll gather information via phone calls to the social worker. You might speak to the child's attorney, to their therapist, to the foster parents. So really, I would say it's a couple of hours a week.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. And maybe lots of text back and forth and stuff like that, I would imagine, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very, very good. We've been talking with Sharon Morris of Great Britain. I think it's Britain, right? Right. Sometimes I can get that confused. And she's the managing director of Riverside County's Voices for Children, which is an organization that's under CASA, which stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA. And, you can get a hold of her at speakupnow.org, speakupnow.org. Can you donate to this? How is your funding?
So we would be absolutely thrilled to talk to anybody who might be interested in supporting us that way. We are a nonprofit, so we have to raise every dollar to be able to do this work. We are not funded by the court system. We need to be separate in that way so that we can be completely unbiased. And so we are very grateful for any community partners or individuals, businesses that would be willing to support us. And again, you can find that information on our website, again, at speakupnow.org, or to drop me an email at sharonm@speakupnow.org.
Well, very good. Sharon M at speakupnow.org is her email. And, of course, I imagine there's a donate button there as well. It's just a very interesting thing that has gone on for years. There's CASAs, like we said, all across the nation. There's one in San Bernardino County. This is Riverside counties. Now, you're not affiliated too much, or just modeled maybe after the CASA in San Diego. Am I saying that right, or are you one organization?
Right. So we are actually one organization. We were founded in San Diego in 1980, and we became the biggest CASA program in the western United States. And when the judiciary of Riverside County were looking to open a CASA program, they went to Voices for Children in San Diego and asked if they would expand. And that's what we did in 2015. And we now have 19 members of staff here in Riverside County, solely dedicated to the county. And so while we're under one umbrella, we are two separate nonprofits with two MOUs with the two different superior courts.
Yeah, because it would be different for each one. So, Sharon, I'm going to give you an opportunity in the next 3 or 4 minutes we have left. Excuse me. Tell us one of the best experiences that you've ever had being at CASA, a valuable story a little bit. I imagine you have plenty of them. I'd love for you to share with us a little bit.
So you're right. There are so many stories that I could share. But if I may, I would like to share the one about when I was a CASA. Because my little children, in 2010, I became an American citizen. And that's how I got to find Voices for Children. They play a video of the president when you become an American. And he said, now that you're an American, you should give back to your own community. So I signed up for an information session, just like I'm asking everyone on the radio to do today. And I thought, I can do this. I don't have any children of my own, but my friends' children think I'm funny and I have a great accent, so I can do this. And I was assigned to a 5-year-old girl and her 7-year-old brother. She turned 22 yesterday. And when I became her CASA, her teacher, her first grade teacher, said to me, she pays no attention in school whatsoever. She is the class clown. She's never sitting still. She doesn't do any of her homework. She does nothing. And so I asked her, hey, what's going on? Let's talk. And I took her for a picnic, and we sat down, and she said, well, I can't see what she's writing on the chalkboard. And what it boiled down to was that she needed glasses. But you see, not having somebody in her life, a parent that would think about those things, and a social worker, unfortunately, is overworked, overwhelmed, and doesn't have the time to come to school or talk to the teachers. But by having a CASA on the case, we were able to get her an ophthalmology appointment, and she ended up with purple glasses which she still wears today, is purple. And of course, from that moment, it changed her life. And so something as simple as a pair of glasses, and there are many stories I could tell you, Mark, that are much, much bigger than that.
Yeah.
But I think that
That's
all
very
volunteers
moving.
understand they can do something very simply to change someone's life.
That's very, very moving. And how great that is. Now, you said have people sign up for an information session.
Session, yeah.
Yes. And so they can simply go to the website for that?
Yeah, at speakupnow.org.
No commitment necessary. Just go get some information.
None.
Is this a live session that you, like a seminar you conduct, or how is that done?
Yes, although we do have the option to watch a pre-recorded one as well if someone would like to do that, late at night, early in the morning. Otherwise, they are held once a week during the evening or the daytime. You'll look for that on the website and sign up for the one that works best for your calendar.
Wonderful. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us and giving us this information. It's invaluable. It shows us, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that not all immigrants are a problem, that some immigrants are very, very valuable and provide a valuable service. And we're so grateful you became a United States citizen. And it's a good example of the positivity of that. SpeakUpNow.org, Voices for Children under CASA. And it's just been a pleasure because a child heard is a life changed. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm Mark Westwood in for Donald Williamson. And with Donald Williamson, he's coming out of the hospital today. We're grateful for that. And we'll see him next week. And stay tuned. You can find this program on kcaaradio.org, on our podcasts, kcaaradio.org, or on Kick. On our website, you will see a video portion of this too. But we hope you will join us again next week at 3 p.m. for the Donald Williamson's Taxsaver and More Show.